Well, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? What's going on? So, yes, today we're going to be talking about how Namancha changes your life. And yes, these are not my aspects classes. These are my Namancha classes. These are my divisional charts classes. Because these classes help me see through all the way to the depths of the chart, all the way to the Sastyamsha chart. So I can see all the dignities of the planet. So I always use these glasses, man, when I'm looking at charts. So yeah, anyway. Jokes aside, so yes, today we're going to be talking about how Namancha changes your life, and this is something I'm actually kind of reshooting this because I was looking at a certain chart and there were just so much negative things in that chart. I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Nobody wants to hear about this. You know, because I know how people's psyche is. They look at their own Namancha and then they will start judging their own Namancha based on the planetary placements they have in the Namancha. And if it's similar, the subconscious mind, you know, thinks like, oh my God, this is my placement, so I'm screwed. So now I'm going to, I rethought it and I'm using a, different way and different chart of showing you how Namancha changes your life. And this is something especially for people who are married, people who are in a domestic relationship, meaning living together with a person. You don't have to be really married, but once you're in the same dwelling, somehow the mysterious Namancha comes alive. And if you are single, if you're 45, 50, yeah, it'll have some say in your horoscope, but mainly the reason why I'm making this video is because I really saw this change in the people who I was looking at their chart for regarding the marriage and who already were married, and they told me a lot about their marriage. And then I'm like, oh, wow. And then because I saw the same difference in my own life after marriage, how things change, how my personality changed, my behavior towards other things change, including financially things change. But this is mainly in a more practical way as to how your behavior towards certain things change, how your personality changes after marriage. Okay, and obviously if you're going through a certain Mahadasha, then that is bringing a major change as well. But still you will see those other changes in the Namancha after marriage as well. And obviously for people who do not know, Namancha chart is a divisional chart in Vedic Astrology, which kind of helps you determine your married life, your spouse's life, your dignity of your planets. Although the true dignity of the planets is seen through Sastyamsha, but Namancha gives a very, very strong clue as to how the planet is going to behave and how its results are going to be in its Mahadasha. And as always, if you do not know what your Namancha chart is like, it's a very important, very, very important chart. And without that, you can't even watch this video. So if you do not have that, if you don't know what your Namancha is, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including my new magazine on destiny and careers. And especially on the second page, at the bottom, you will see this Namancha chart, D9 chart, which will show you the dignity of your planets through its mathematical calculations. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a chart. Instead of me just talking, I'm going to show you a chart. We'll do this practical thing where how this person's life will change and how it's changing after marriage. Okay. So I'm going to be showing you a chart on the screen, and we're going to go and see how this person's life is changing after marriage. Okay. So as you see a chart here, which is of a Virgo ascendant person, and this person has, and I'm going to not share any birth details of them, but this person is a Virgo ascendant, and their ascendant lord Mercury is in the third house conjunct Sun, and they have Rahu in the ascendant. So first of all, what this does, as a Virgo ascendant with Rahu in the ascendant, shows that the focus is really changing towards to being exposed to the masses. They're all about being very innovative. They're very practically innovative. Like they have many, many unusual ideas that are practical, and they're able to practically implement these ideas. Because Rahu is very well placed in the ascendant in this sign. He's able to show his enthusiasm, show his, entrepreneurship by being practical, not illusionary, sitting back and just thinking about $1 billion and thinking the ego is going up high. No, this is a very, very practical person, but person who wants to achieve that big thing. Because many, many people say, I want to be famous, I want to be this, I want to be that. And when you ask them, what have you done towards it? Well, I don't know what to do. Or they just don't work as hard towards their illusionary dream that they have. No dream is illusionary if you do not work towards it. Then it is an illusion. And then the ascendant Lord Mercury is in the 3rd house in the sign of Scorpio conjunct Sun. This shows that the life focus is towards wanting to really dig deep and dive into the media world. Social media, marketing, creative talents of the hands. When they write very intensely. They write very deep as a person. And they're this natural workaholic who wants to put their own effort into making things. They want to put their own effort into achieving their goals. And obviously, it does show there will be some power struggles with the younger sibling due to the karmic placement of Sun and Mercury in the 3rd house. And especially with the 3rd Lord, being in Cancer, really agitates the person whenever they interact with their near dear ones, and their viewpoints, their ideas are not in sync with their family member. That's all it is. Their family member wants them to be conservative. They want to do something unusual, something in the media, because again, Rahu is sitting in the ascendant. But once this person gets married, if you look at the Namancha, they're an Aquarius Namancha with ascendant Lord Saturn in the 4th house in the sign of Taurus, which shows now suddenly their whole focus is on their family, their home. And at the same time, they become very articulate in their ability to do things. They're no longer wanting to simply just work. They want to actually make their life about things related to pleasure, how they enjoy life more. Before, it was just intense focus towards career, money, their goals, their aims in life, and dealing with the power struggles. Now it's just okay, they're more calm, they're more subtle, and they think more highly philosophically. They love to now, instead of getting everything for themselves that Mercury and Scorpio would do, they now are you know what? Let me help other people. Let me share the wealth. Let me share my knowledge. Let me help people around me. Let me help society that I'm in. And Saturn being in the sign of Taurus, which is a friendly sign, and Saturn aspecting his own ascendant here, shows that one is going to have a very practical perspective of their life, but especially they will become even more creative now. They're becoming more creative. They're I want to do something within the home. Perhaps I can start a home business, related to this, related to that, So let me just, go towards those things. Why? Why is it that they're suddenly changing? Well, if you look, Saturn's dispositor Venus is exalted in the 2nd house in Pisces, which shows that they will have great amount of wealth through the spouse. Their savings will suddenly increase through the spouse, which will free them from all the other burdens and wanting to, put so much effort into just a little bit of money. And now through the spouse, they're becoming more practical, more creative. Their money is increasing, and they feel more creative because Venus is exalted in the 2nd house. And if you look at the same Venus in the birth chart, Venus is in the second house in the sign of Libra, which means their earning is coming through creative source, artistic source. And this is actually a chart of a fashion designer. And so their earning is coming that. And so what Venus does in Namancha after marriage, it becomes even better. It becomes more exalted. So their ability to form a relationship and love the person will be far better than even when they were just in a relationship with them. The moment they would move in with their spouse, the moment they get married legally, they will love everybody. Somehow they'll just be like on ecstasy. They'll feel that. However, let's look at just the planetary alignments itself. They have Saturn in the 12th house in the sign of Leo in the birth chart. And this shows that they feel blocked whenever it comes to their subconscious thinking, creative thinking. You know, their relationship with the uncle is very distant. Perhaps uncle lives far away. Their relationship with the seniors and the old wise men in their family was just kind of sitting in the back in the drawer. It wasn't as prominent. But once they get married and you see the Saturn in the 4th house in a friendly sign of Venus, what happens is suddenly they start to want to call their uncle, their grandfather, you know, whoever they did not have a great relationship with, now suddenly they like to invite them in their home. The relationship with them becomes very good. They get all the wise philosophical ideas through them. They become more engaged with the older elderly person through their husband's family. They start to respect older people. It's no longer like, oh, hi, hello kind of thing, which Saturn in the 12th house usually would do. This is more of like, wow, you're in my heart now. I love you. I respect you even more. And through you, I'm able to express myself more creatively. Because the more I interact with the older people, somehow I just get ideas to make new types of dresses. Things happen. That's how creativity works. So that changes. Then, if you look at Moon, Moon is in the 7th house in the sign of Pisces. And in the Namancha chart, Moon is in the 9th house in the sign of Libra. And what this shows is that this person is highly creative, imaginative, and at the same time they have a great support of their mother. Mother is a very spiritual person. Mother is she's the one who probably encourages this person to be an artist, and helps them to expose to the masses, to the other people. And as much as you guys might think, oh, Ketu is conjunct Moon and this shouldn't be good. No. This is actually a very good placement for the Moon with Ketu. And if you look at the dispositor of the 7th house is in the 10th house, looking at the 4th house of mother. So why would it give a bad relationship with the mother? And Ketu is exalted in the sign of Pisces. So you, instead of getting a very distant relationship from the mother, you get a very spiritual relationship with the mother. Then we see the Moon in the Namancha chart. After marriage, the relationship with the mother still stays very diplomatic, very peaceful, and their spiritual views, their religious views especially, religious views, which is the 9th house, grow with the help of their mother. They grow with the help of their, a motherly figure in the life. They again also become still very creative. Because even after marriage, the mind is functioning in a very well-balanced place, because look at Moon's dispositor. Venus is in the sign of Pisces exalted. So through the mother, they will also attain wealth as well. Then we look at other things. If you look, Sun is in the 7th house in the sign of Leo, which is a known sign. Sun is in the 3rd house in the sign of Scorpio in the birth chart. So growing up, before marriage, there was a lot of bickering, a lot of power struggles with the father, and they just did not, their ideas with the father didn't coincide. Father probably wanted them to become an engineer. Father probably wanted them to become an IS officer. And here she is saying, I want to become a fashion designer. But after marriage, Sun here shows great support from the father, and father would love to be involved in the person's marriage and their life. And also their spouse is kind of giving them the same motivation as their father should have given. Meaning this person will look at their husband as kind of like a father figure. Internally and secretly, they're looking at that person like, wow, you will make a great dad. You'll make a great dad to our kids, because the way our interaction is, you make me feel bright. You make me feel like I am the one, the illuminating one. But also this will improve the relationship with the father itself. After marriage, when father sees how the daughter is happy, she's enjoying her life, she's becoming creative, well-known, father's going to want to be involved as well. And so here now father, the relationship with him will be very solid. Father will encourage more than to discourage the person in doing whatever they want to do, pursuing whatever they want to pursue. Then let's look at other chart or other planets. Mars is in the 11th house in the sign of Cancer at 15 degrees. Mars is in the sign of Scorpio in the 10th house. So first, what it's doing, Mars is giving them a lot of power struggles with the people that their network circles with. Like anytime they get friends, somehow they get into power struggles with their friends. They just do not know why is it that friendships are not working out. And what it also shows that the struggles with the brother, the elder brother, is somehow don't seem to go away no matter how well they try. And especially the reason why Mars is showing this here, because Mars for this ascendant is a functional malefic. And a functional malefic planet, especially when it's going towards its debilitation, although at 15 degrees, it's not that bad. But again, Mars is definitely going to give power struggles. Now, in the Namancha chart, Mars is in the 10th house. Okay? So what's happening is, Mars is still in the karmic sign of Scorpio. But it's in the 10th house now. And what this shows, that they will become more intense regarding their career. They will become more determined about their career, to achieve their career, to make themselves the best fashion designer out there. Yet the struggles with the brother will still be there. It may not be as bad. It'll probably be more hidden now because it's in Scorpio and Mars is in its own sign. So it's going to improve. But what they're going to do, they're going to take that power struggle, those bad timing with the brothers and male friends, and they're just going to use that intensity after marriage to build their career. You're like, oh, you thought I wasn't going to go anywhere? Watch how I show you where I go. So now, instead of the power struggles with the network circle or elder sibling, that same Mars is now giving them intense work ethics to achieve their goals and not be afraid of anything. Because first of all, Mars and Saturn are mutually aspecting each other. It makes a person this more of a machine. And they are no longer afraid of facing their fears out in their public life. Doesn't matter if somebody makes fun of them, doesn't matter if somebody laughs at them, they're just going to keep their intensity alive and they're going to want to achieve their goals. Before, they were trying to look for their support from network circles. They were trying to look for support from their elder sibling and they just weren't getting it. But now they took that same energy after marriage and they're like, okay, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do by myself, and I don't care if anybody wants to support me or not. Then let's look at Jupiter. So Jupiter is in the 10th house in the sign of Gemini, and then Jupiter is in the 12th house conjunct Ketu and Mercury. And so what is happening now? Well, Jupiter, as you know, represents your teachers, gurus. For a female, it represents a husband. And Jupiter also kind of represents the senior in the family. So when they date a person, when they're like interacting with their teachers and gurus, it's a very communicative thing. They love communicating with their seniors, their gurus, and the person that they're going to marry, they have a great communication with them. But then what happens after marriage is that the same husband, the same person who they had a communication with, just becomes very practical now. They become very practical. They're all about making sure that the bills are being paid. They're taking care of the mortgage, taking care of the kids. They're no longer laughing at the same jokes that they used to laugh at, because probably the responsibility of running a family is making this person just be more serious and practical and gain as much money and status in life as possible. And for that, they might be traveling to a foreign place. Because of the fact Jupiter is now in a cardinal sign in the 12th house. Cardinal sign meaning movable sign, Capricorn. Now Jupiter is like, I have to move. I have to go and I have to make money even if I have to go to foreign lands. Now, does that mean it's a bad relationship or a good relationship? This is where we have to look at dispositors in the Navamsa chart. Or not the Navamsa, any chart. Look at the dispositor of Jupiter in the Namancha chart. Jupiter is in the sign of Capricorn, which many would say it's a debilitated place, but Jupiter's dispositor Saturn is in the 4th house in fixed sign of Taurus, meaning that the husband is not going to turn into a negative person, but more of a practical person who wants to provide for his family. And he's willing to go to foreign lands to provide for his home, his dwelling, and give everything to his spouse and his marriage that he can. Because Jupiter from the 12th house aspects the 4th house itself. But Jupiter's dispositor mainly is in a very, very solid ground. It's in a very beautiful place. But, this is each to his own. You may look at it as a negative thing. But the thing is, this person is going to enjoy wealth. This person is going to enjoy their life, their savings. It's just that the person is becoming more practical. They're like, hey, let's go out and let's go to a comedy club. They're like, no, I have work. I have to work tomorrow because I want to make sure I get this contract tomorrow, because it's a big contract. So I just need to prepare work for that. You will start to notice these things. Now, if in Namancha, the mind, the ascendant are not well placed, moon and the ascendant or Venus, then what happens is the person who's wanting to work hard for them, they'll be like, oh, they're not giving me enough time. I don't have enough time in the marriage. You don't pay attention to the kids. You're always traveling. And so the problem will start in the marriage. But because there's so many solid things happening in the chart, this person will be like, you know what? I've got a great husband who works hard for me. He's traveling. He wants to provide for my family and provide for me. You know what? Let him just work, because as long as we have security, things will work out. Because remember, no marriage is perfect. No marriages will ever be 100% perfect. So sacrifices are to be made. And once you learn this about your own Namancha, and especially people who are married, they will see how their whole perspective changes, just like this Namancha. How your focus in life changes. Once you get married, your ascendant is saying, your birth chart is saying some other focus, but after marriage, now that focus switches there. The birth chart focus is always there, but main focus is now becomes what's in the Namancha chart. And you will try to accomplish your birth horoscope focus through those things. So you can look at every planet, all the relationships, look at all the yogas, whether Dhan Yoga, Raj Yoga, Arishta Yoga, Dhruv Yoga, whatever yogas, doshas are out there, look at them and see how they're trying to manifest themselves through the marriage. Now, sure, I can show you. I was actually making a video with, previous to this one, I made a video with a chart. Oh my goodness. Within 12 minutes of me making a video on it, I'm like, geez, is there anything good here? Because I know I did a horoscope of this one lady 3 months ago, and with what she described and what she was telling, it just, I'm like, whoa, yeah. So then I had to stop. I'm like, I can't do this, because many of you will see this and you'll be like, oh my God, this is my Namancha. I'm going to be this and that. And then you're going to be emailing me 10 times. So that's why I didn't want to do it. But one thing you have to understand, let's say, for example, this person gets divorced and leaves that person. Or let's go back in time. Or actually, you know, every time this person is by themselves, whoever it is, whenever you become single from a domestic partnerships or marriage, you go back to your old self. Because then what happens is you no longer are attached to that Namancha that was activated. Now what happens is you're like, man, where was I? What was I doing? Man, I completely lost focus in my life. You know how many people say after divorce, man, I totally lost focus in my life. I love working on motorcycles, and you know, I never got to do that. So now they're back to their birth chart. And they're now back to working on their motorcycles, back to traveling, back to studying all whatever they wanted to study. But then what happens is you will always look for the exact same person as your Namancha chart. Over and over again. But here's another secret about Namancha. Just like the birth chart improves, like let's say you have very hot planets, malefic planets, in your 7th house or surrounding Venus. If a person gets married early, they get an abusive spouse, angry spouse, you know, and it just doesn't work out. And the next thing you know, they're getting a divorce within 3 months, within a year, within 5 years. But the thing is even in Namancha, planets tend to change, they cool down, they mellow out. So if this person got married at the age of 27, 25, and they had a very bad time, and they're listening to this video, well, what you got to understand, if you're supposed to be married late, between 32 and 35, which so many people are, so many. Now what's going to happen, once you marry at the karmic time that you're supposed to be married, when these planets are calmed down, when planets are more at ease, then the same Namancha starts to behave just like the birth chart. It starts to behave in a more calmer way. You will have the spouse with the same career, probably the same personality, same everything. It'll just be in a more calmer way. You'll be like, you know what? I've dealt with this before. I can handle this situation. And that's how people can go with their second marriage or third marriage and last it for a long time, because they finally learn. And the level of that intensity is also calmed down now, compared from the first husband or wife to the second husband or wife. But yes, when the Namancha is so screwed up as I was doing, the one before this, that I had to delete, I would probably tell this person, if I didn't have my principle, I would say, you know what, you're better off being single for the rest of your life. But I can't, because when they email me, they're like, can you please tell me when will I get married? Can you please, you know, tell me if I will find a good spouse? So that shows that, okay, this person is wanting to get married, and you telling them they'll never get married, you can affect them. So I don't do that. Now, this is something that obviously Juan Paul Manley was going to talk about this Friday, about the double transits of Jupiter and Saturn. And he probably would have shown you, which he will next week, how Saturn, Jupiter, you know, trigger marriages, whether they're aspecting the ascendant, 7th house, 7th Lord, Venus, and through their transit, and if the Maha and Antradashas are also supporting the marriage timing, then triggering of marriage happens, triggering of children happen, promotions that you're looking for happen through Jupiter and Saturn. Everything Jupiter and Saturn are like these this code. When the code comes here and the other code comes here, the treasure drawer opens. That's what it is. Okay, so guys, I hope you kind of understood how Namancha changes you in a way, you know, where what you were, you know, completely just somehow change to who you are now after marriage or in domestic partnership. Okay, so I hope this has helped, and I will see you Monday. Otherwise, again, if you do not know your Namancha chart and want to know all your planetary alignments, all my books, consultations, for that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday with our conjunction video. Bye-bye.